had this devil of a time trying to get... We tried to track him down. At first we thought he was the chairman and chief executive because his entry in Company's House is really misleading. It looks like he's the chairman and chief executive. We tried to track him down. Eventually we got hold of him in France. And he lists his place of residence in New York. And we got hold of him in France. And said, hello, you in bed here. So hello, it's Mark Thomas. Just phoned up. We've been trying to get hold of you for 3 days about this issue of your... Oh, yeah. Well, I've changed it now. I've corrected it. Well, that's only because we've been after you for 3 days. Was there any reason why you didn't... I don't know. But you said I was chairman and chief executive. Yeah, but that's because your Company's House entry is really confusing. He said, what's Company's House? It was great. I said, where exactly do you live? He said, New York. I've been Paris, Denmark. Everyone's talking about pop music. Talk about pop music. We got in touch with this group called the Medical Research Council, and they help cover up the funds for investigations and research into drugs and so connections with companies and what have you. We phoned them up, I think it's 4 times, pestering them for the publicly available register of members' interest. Eventually, one of them sent us over an email, but there's masses of inconsistencies when you look at what's actually down at Company's House. And you look through all this stuff and you're just thinking, no, this isn't very good. So I phoned them up and said, what you've sent over isn't good enough. It's not accurate. And they said, no, well, I don't know what's happened there because the person who compiled that is on holiday. So he said, well, have you got a register of members? Yes, we'll fax it over to you. We were going to send it to you, but we must have lost it in the office or it got lost in the post. All right, OK. They didn't send us over the register of members' interest. They sent over the forms that they asked the members to fill in. This kind of smacks of someone going, fuck, 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 fuck. Will you get it together? Fuck, 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 fuck. So they faxed it over and we went through it. And there are about 7 people on that register who, look like bits and pieces have not been disclosed as fully as we would have liked. We found out that 3 people on that council hadn't declared that they were directors on ISIS Innovation, which is an Oxford University company that connects with sort of like research and development they do in the colleges and the universities into industry. A little bit of it is medical. You would have thought that got mentioned, but no. One guy, Professor Fitzpatrick, doesn't mention he's a director of the Bupa Foundation. You would have thought there might be a perceived conflict of interest about that. And so we went round there and said, look, there are 7 people on this council whose entries are different from what are in Company's House. How do you account for that? And they said, oh, well, there's no conflict of interest. We're going to bring down someone to talk to you about the fact that there is no conflict of interest. Now, why isn't Bupa considered a conflict of interest here?
I'm not aware that we've ever done business of any kind with Bupa.
It's not about whether you've done business, it's about perceived conflict of interest. How come that isn't a perceived conflict of interest?
I don't know the answer to that.
How can you possibly say that the Bupa Foundation does not have a perception of conflict of interest with the Medical Research Council, right, when there's a non-declaration there? How can you say that?
I can say that it's possible that that is indeed an area for interpretation. Obviously, Professor Fitzpatrick did not consider it to be so.
So you actually don't know?
What was going through his mind at the time? No, I don't, because I'm not talking to him.
And you don't know why he thinks it's not a conflict of interest?
No, because I haven't had that discussion with him.
The chairman is a guy called Sir Anthony Cleaver. He's the guy who should be in charge of all of this. He's the guy who should be making sure that everyone, and there he is. Sir Anthony hadn't included the fact that he was also a director of Lockheed Martin on his entry, and he'd forgotten to mention that he was also a director of Bermuda Asset Management Limited, forgot to mention that. And, he really should have included his own stuff, he should have included the committee stuff, especially because he's also on the committee for Standards in Public Life. 1. Do you know what Bell Street Management Company is?
No.
2. Do you know what Argentum Research is?
No. I have no...
Do you know what Servital Limited is?
No, because I've had no advance warning of any of these names. And I have no reason to think that any of those names necessarily should present us with a problem.
Do you know where the Bermuda Asset Management Limited property, which is the property company, do you know where that property is?
I can't answer that.
No. Do you know what IX Europe PLC is?
No.
No.
You're listing to me a number of things that you have found through a search of Companies House, and you're mentioning to me companies that I've never heard of before. Of course I say to you,
You were brought out to tell us how, that there was no conflict of interest. That's what we were told that you were going to do. You haven't been able to answer half the questions of what there is. With all due respect, this is a bit pointless.
Could I call the committee to order and welcome Mark Thomas, our witness this morning. We're very delighted to have you along. My note here describes you as a comedian and activist, an uncoverer of things that people don't want to have uncovered, really. And
on a good day, yes.
On a good day, and we're sure it's a good day. And you've been very kind enough to give us some written material on some of the work that you've been doing.
This is a report that we handed in to the select committee. We go up to the select committee, and I'm talking to the team going, they're bastards in there, they're all MPs. And they're all going, no, play it calm, Mark. Don't lose it. Don't start going, you fuckers, and all of that. Just be calm, play the game, get the information out, because you've got parliamentary privilege. You can say what you like, so keep the information being said. Because I can say whatever I like in there, and no one can sue me. This is about public accountability. It's about transparency. It's about perceived conflicts of interest. And it's also about these people, with all due respect to yourselves, they actually can shape government policy. People on these public bodies can steer and determine what is government policy, which actually is often more power than many backbench MPs will have. And yet, who are they accountable to? Where is the transparency? Where is the scrutiny on this? It's simply not here. And that's how we approached the report that we've given you. That's one of the examples that we found there. I think it illustrates the fact that when it comes to accountability and transparency, public bodies are actually rotten to the core on this issue.
Before I hand over, could I just, I forgot to say one thing to you when I asked who the we was, which is that I have to ask you if you're a current affairs programme. The reason for asking that is that if you say yes, then evidently the tape of these proceedings can be used by the White
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
We are.